So I am using SQL Server 2017 Management Studio to connect to SQL Server 2016 database server. We can also use Visual Studio to connect to database server. So let's first drop a SQL 2016 database if it is already exists. Now let's create SQL Server 2016 database and use it. So let's first create table employee in the database. We can check whether table is created in the database or not by querying the sys.tables. So here we can see that table employee is created in the database. So let's first drop table employee using the old SQL Server syntax. We can again check whether table is deleted or not. So by querying sys.tables, we can see that there is no table in the database. So let's create table employee again to test the new syntax of SQL Server 2016. So now let's try the new syntax of SQL Server 2016 to drop a table employee. So now we can see that table employee is deleted from the database. To drop the existing trigger from the database earlier to SQL Server 2016, we need to check in the sys.triggers whether trigger exists or not. If it exists, then we can proceed with the dropping. In SQL Server 2016, we can simply write drop trigger if exists. So now let's try this new syntax on triggers. So first let's create table employee because we have deleted it, and after that let's create a trigger on table employee. So we can see the existing trigger on sys.triggers table. So let's query sys.trigger. Now we can see tr employee delete is there in the database. So prior to SQL Server 2016, if we have to delete trigger, then we have to see sys.triggers table. So let's first try the old syntax. So now we have deleted trigger using the old syntax. We can query again sys.triggers to see whether trigger is deleted or not. We can see there is no trigger anymore. So let's create trigger one more time to try with new syntax. So now using the new syntax, we can delete trigger. We can query again sys.triggers to see whether trigger is deleted or not. Using new syntax, we can see trigger is deleted. So for other objects, we have similar type of syntax. Suppose for stored procedure earlier, we have to check in sys.objects, and in the new syntax we can simply write drop procedure. And for user defined function, we have also similar type of syntax, drop function if exist. And to drop a column in the earlier version of SQL Server 2016, we have to first check on sys.columns. Now we can simply write alter table employee and then drop column if exist. Similarly, we can also drop a user defined type, schema and assembly.